Council. City Council meeting, 6 p.m. Wednesday, July 7th, 2021, City Hall Complex. I call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Madam Clerk. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes. Debe estar prendido o apagado. Apagado. Okay. I guess John, we're on. Nothing's off.
I think we should be on.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Yes.
Okay, do we have anybody for call to the public? No? Okay. Number 4, financial monthly report. John?
Mr. Mayor, Gene passed out the sales tax monthly report.
Yes.
That's the only thing we have for today, and I'll turn this over to Gene so she can give you the finance monthly report, sir.
All right, thank you.
Gene?
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. First of all, I would like to thank each and every one of you for your hard work, time, and effort put into successfully passing the fiscal year 21-22 budget. All of your efforts were greatly appreciated, not only by myself, but by the entire finance team. Secondly, you will notice this is an abbreviated financial report. You will receive a preliminary report at the August meeting for the wrap-up of fiscal year 2021, with a final report to follow in September. We have reviewed the expenditures through June 30th, and most of our departments are on target to end the fiscal year within their budgets. Finally, we did want to provide you with the up-to-date sales tax report. The chart you have received is the current fiscal year through May, including a comparison with the previous fiscal year of 2019-2020. Currently, the sales tax that has come in for the month of May is $560,265. As of May 31st, we are at 95% of the budget, which is above the 91% that should be received through this point. With these numbers so far, we should meet the budget once June numbers come in. And again, I want to thank you all for the overall support given to our finance team during the past few months. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything else, John?
No, sir, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Okay, number 5, reports. Update city manager recruitment. John?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. We've handed out 2 documents here. They're stapled together in the city manager recruitment efforts. The first document you'll see is the brochure that they will be using for the recruitment efforts. We need to hopefully get your approval on this brochure tonight in this meeting. And if we're able to get your approval on this, and if you guys are comfortable with this, then we can move on to move forward on recruiting the next candidate for city manager. I've attached in the back of the brochure a timeline, and if you can go through the timeline real quick, you can see that the recruitment brochure development is anticipated to be approved on today's date. I know that our recruiter, Christine Navarro, has been reaching out to you all via email for your input and your feedback on this. So we're hoping that we can get the final approval of the group as a whole tonight on this to move forward. And if we follow through and then everything goes smooth, we'll have our next city manager here in the month of September, around September 13th date. There's a timeline on here to get it so you can all plan accordingly. So you can make your personal plans to make sure that you can participate in the selection of the next city manager. And I've included at the end of the timeline Mrs. Navarro's work number and cell phone number in case you would like to reach out and speak to her directly. That's the only thing that I have on this, Mr. Mayor. So what we're seeking what Christian is seeking through via staff is an approval or a thumbs up on the actual recruitment brochure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, thank you very much, John. Is there any question from,
Mayor?
yes, go ahead.
Okay, I know we're paying this company $35,000 for the recruitment of the new city manager.
Mhm.
Looking here at the week of September 6th, and it says fly in out-of-town candidates. Who will pay for their airplane fare and their stay and all expenses and stuff like that? That's on.
Yeah, I noticed that. It doesn't say who will pay for it. Is that going to be something brought back to us, Mr. Kissinger?
Mr. Mayor, I don't know the answer to that question. I can reach out to Kristen first thing tomorrow morning and ask her what she anticipates that. I think it might be up to Mayor and Council on whether you want to pick up that tab or you want to have the recruits actually pay their own way to get out here to interview for a job. I will reach out to her and ask her first thing tomorrow morning.
Yeah, that'd be good to, I mean, maybe it's good for us to know something like this, now, not wait till the month of, or the end of August or.
Does the group have a preference on that, or do you want me to ask first and then report back what her ideas are in it?
Yeah, well, find out what it is, because this is the thing is we don't know where they're going to be flying from. Or how many days, is it for like 1 day or 2 days here in Nogales? That they'll be staying just through the interview process? I don't know. Have you discussed that with them?
I haven't, Mr. Mayor. I'll ask Robert. Robert, did you have this conversation by any chance with Christian?
Mayor, members of the council, if I can. Yes, we did.
Oh, good.
So-
There you go.
We're anticipating that we do have someone within the state, and if that were to happen, it'll probably be a one-night stay over at a local hotel and perhaps mileage. That would be for your final interview. If we do happen to have a really good candidate from out of state, then we would actually talk about airfare and perhaps a day or two, or night or two, on a hotel, plus perhaps a rental, unless we can make arrangements to go pick up that individual at the airport. That's as far as we went on negotiating anything at that point. We anticipate that to be the most minimal we can, put towards this, but that's where we're at. Concrete numbers, we probably won't know till we get close to that.
And it says there top 3, so it'd be 3? Is that what you discussed with Mr. Thompson?
I'm sorry, Mayor, what was that?
It says the top 3?
The finalist top 3.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So any interviews we do prior to that would probably be online, similar to what we're doing right now. And then the top 3, we would negotiate something to where we pay for travel, overnight stay, and perhaps per diem. But it would only be for the top 3.
okay. I guess, anything else, Councilman?
No, that was my question.
Basically, yeah. Well, I think so far so good, John. I like the date, September.
So do I, Mr.
I just hope we get good candidates that we can interview that will be part of this community. Yes, go ahead, Councilman.
John, we will be getting a progress report on how many people have been interviewed and how they're moving up the list to the top of the list.
Mr. Mayor,
Just go
Councilman,
ahead.
I'll reach out to Kristen and express your concerns that you'd like to have progress reports on the process.
Yes. I guess we could proceed with this, John, and let's see, does anybody see anything? Yeah,
Hearing none, hearing no
Yeah.
objections, Mr. Mayor, I'll let Christian know that we're good to go and she can start.
just keep us abreast of what's happening. If there's anything new, let us know.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, John. Number 2, update city annex building. This was placed by Councilman Maldonado. Do you have anything on this, Mr. Kissinger?
I do, and Mr. Maldonado's on the phone, Mr. Mayor, just
Okay,
in case. But, yeah, we're just putting on the, for lack of a better term, the final touches on,
okay.
No?
No.
We're good?
All right.
The architectural design on it. I think we're going to be finishing that up very shortly here, maybe this week or maybe even next week, Mr. Mayor. And then he will move on towards bringing in the engineers and providing us with some construction documents so we can take that out to bid. We moved really slow last year. There was no budget for it, and then COVID wasn't
Yes.
help on this thing, so we're moving very slow last fiscal year. But now that we passed the budget, now that we have some spending authority to start developing these plans, I anticipate us moving rather quickly.
Well, that's good to hear because, if we can get that construction design, basically that's the one that's going to give us that number, that magic number.
Sure, and
Put it out to bid.
Yes, sir. The conceptual design that you all looked at in previous
Yeah.
meetings, not much has changed, just sizes, move a wall a little bit more this way, bathrooms and small stuff like that, as the architect worked very closely with Judge Cartwright, and I know they meet on a regular basis to go over things and make
Yes.
sure that she gets everything that she needs to have that functioning city court over there. And he met with the entire finance team on the design for the bottom floor. Our construction documents will be for both floors, and then depending on funding, we'll move, understanding that it's the mayor and council's priority to do the second floor or the courts
court.
first.
Yeah.
And that's all the report I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Mr. Maldonado, did you hear that?
Yes, I did, Mayor. Thank you, John, for all your information.
They'll be bringing some more information for us, Mr. Maldonado, when we get to that phase.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, number 3, discussion, direction, and possible action regarding benefits. Oh,
Mr. Mayor?
we're gonna, sorry about that, we're
Request of
gonna
Mr. Maldonado and
Yes.
staff, we're asking you to
table it.
pull this or table it, and we'll bring it back at a later
Well,
date.
instead of just pulling it, let's table it. Do I have a motion to table?
Second.
Second. Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. 6, presentations. Presentation of street maintenance projects. Frank Reed, Councilman Bojorquez requested this. Mr. Kissinger?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Councilman Bojorquez asked for this to be placed on this agenda at last meeting. Mr. Guerra prepared a small presentation for you to see where we're at on the street maintenance projects that we have ongoing. And I think the last slide have a couple of street maintenance that we'll be doing in the near future. And Mr. Guerra's available to answer any questions that you might have on his presentation.
Mr. Bojorquez, you have something, sir?
Mr. Guerra, are we going to have any problems doing this project while the state is working on that bridge, on that overpass? Do you see any more time delay on that?
Excuse me, could you please repeat the question, Councilman?
As far as the Frank Reed Road, do you think we're going to see some time delay because the state is building that overpass, or is everything on schedule?
Oh, no, not at all. I think Ada will be done a long time ago when we are ready
ADA, my understanding is that ADA will be done by the end of the year with the project.
With the, are you talking about the overpass or the Frank
Yeah.
Reed? By the end of this year?
That's what-
That's what was the original schedule, and they have done significant progress so far.
Mr. Guerra, I believe they said it was going to be the end of September or October, that they would be close to finishing it. But basically, the question is that, will it interfere with any of the work that we're going to be doing for, like I noticed here that you have the sidewalks on Frank Reed, starting the week of the 12th of July. Basically, that I don't think would interfere with the construction on the overpass, but it'll be the beginning of the future paving project.
Yeah, no, I don't expect any troubles with our job and whatever is going on with ADA at this point.
Did you already have all that area blue staked, Mr. Guerra?
Yeah, we have requested blue stake a couple of times already, but we have, rescheduled the project a few times. I will double check with Tony Santa Cruz, but according to him, he's ready to start next week to forming the area.
Which side of the street of the sidewalks are you going to start with there? Which side is it?
Yeah, we'll be from Ciarduli Place all
Yeah.
the way to Mariposa Hills.
On the side of the school or the side of the residential area?
On the side of the residential area.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay, perfect. Well, that's a beginning. I think that's a good move. You have, are you going to be doing sidewalks on both sides, Mr. Guerra, eventually?
No, because the project, as you know, we have another project parallel to this, which is the pedestrian pathway.
Yes.
The pedestrian pathway will be 10 feet wide and will be a multi-use pathway for pedestrian and bicyclists.
Okay, and just so the members of the council understand, that's on the side of the school.
Right.
Okay. That's important to know so that you're doing one side and the other one comes in with the grant process that we have with ADOT.
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Thank you
you,
very
Juan.
much, Mr. Guerra.
Thank you.
Thank you, Juan.
Number 2, update on Techea Park project. Councilman Maldonado had this. John?
Mr.
Yes.
Mayor?
On the jet park, I would like to give the name of the mission of the website that we have gotten the grant for it and to start up with the the construction and do the first phase. Mr. Lopez, are we taking over?
Mr. Mayor, I'm prepared to speak to the chair part.
He's not prepared.
I'm prepared to speak.
You're prepared?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Maldonado, Mr. Kissinger is prepared for that. He will be doing the presentation.
So, Mr. Mayor, on Techea Park Phase 1 and 2, and I think everybody in the room knows Phase 1 and 2, the difference between the two. The entire estimated cost project of that was about $2.3 million. Yeah, I'm on.
You're on?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's green.
Okay.
Come on. You can't hear me?
No, go ahead. It's something else.
Okay. So the Phase 1, which has a footprint of the original park that there's right now and all the way up to the basketball courts, the cost estimate of that was $1.6 million. We went out and obtained a grant with Arizona State Parks. It's a 50-50, 1-for-1 match on that. We obtained that grant, and we just recently was awarded that. I let all of you know.
Yes.
It's about $109,000. $809,000, I'm sorry, $809,000 for each of us. Currently, we've already spent a good portion of our match. And then Mayor and Council just approved a budget line item to pay the rest of our match. So we're on schedule with funding. They're finishing up the design work, and we anticipate actually putting a shovel in the ground, Mr. Mayor, if everything goes smoothly, in sometime in October of this year to start building the park.
Good.
Phase 2, the balance, which is about $746,000, I think I did my math right, but the state parks feels that it has a good priority to be funded again, so we'll be in the future, in the next year's allocation, looking for that funding, again with our match, right? And we'll address that in next year's budget, Mr. Mayor. So it seems like we're on good track to finally bring to light the Chea Park. So
That's good to hear.
I'm very happy of the work that staff has put into that. Our former Parks and Rec, Alejandra, the lady that we were contracting with to help us write the grant, the state grants people, and I'm also very happy that right now Judy's helping me shepherd some of that stuff until we bring in our permanent Parks Director.
Perfect.
Then I'll be handing this all off to that person so they can do the presentation for you.
Perfect. John,
Yes, sir.
can you start requesting the grant for phase 2 now, or do you have to wait till the construction of the phase 1?
We have to wait until phase 2 opens up for funding.
Okay.
So, but we're already in conversations with Arizona State Parks, and they feel very excited to get this project done. I mean, it was a great meeting, us competing with a lot of different cities for funding from Arizona Parks and Trails, and it was really, it was actually really exciting to sit and listen to that meeting and for us getting funded.
Because they know now that we matched it, so we're good for phase 1.
Plus, they see a whole project, and of
Yes.
course, they would like to get a project through. So I think we're in a very good position, but it's a process, Mr. Mayor.
No, good. Is there anybody else having, go ahead.
John, do you have like an estimated time of completion for the first phase? You said next year, but
Right. So I know that they want to start in October, but the project length to finish it, I'm sure it'll flush out when we sign a contract with a contractor. The idea was to get a bid, get it, and get the contract to start the construction in October. And within that contract, typically it says the length of the project.
Okay.
So short answer is I don't know the length of the actual construction portion of it.
So when you go out to bid, are you gonna specify the time frame for the completion, or is that up to the contractor?
I think we typically, Mike, don't we leave that up to the contractor to say when they can, and the time frame they can build it in?
The contractor.
We negotiate it.
Engineer?
Right.
Usually, we obviously rely on the engineer's estimate, and then when we bid it with not to exceed so many days. And we try to keep that, somewhat flexible, but we'll have to take a look at that to make sure that we get a good time frame. And then, and then it's going to be part of the contract, so they have to meet that deadline.
All right.
Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, John.
Hector, I'm always very cautious about giving timelines because when we do, then there's an expectation that they're met. And so I really like to take one step at a time type approach on this. So I know we'll know a lot more. And when we know a lot more, we'll share with Mayor and Council on better timelines on this stuff.
Yeah, because once you sign the contract, the contractor's obligated to do that in that time frame that you allow him to do the work. If not, they start paying like liquidated
Right.
damages.
That's typically right, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Be on top of that. Yeah, good. Is anybody else? Anything
Thanks,
else?
John. That's good.
Okay, number 3. Presentation on obtaining a business license with City of Nogales. Councilmember Montiel, you requested this? John?
Mr. Mayor, Councilwoman Montiel requested this item on the agenda. I put together a packet provided to me by both our Planning and Zoning Director, Mr. Sam Paz, who's on the Hangouts call, and I also got information from our Finance Director. Both of the informations are attached. There's a flow chart showing how a business license is obtained within the city. And then I attached the ordinance and the schedule on what a business license costs. If it's a retail type license, if you're in a retail store, the license is only $35. If you're occupational license, then the license also only $35. However, there's a quarterly tax associated with that, and the schedule is attached to the presentation.
Good.
And Sam, myself, and Gene stand ready to answer any questions on the presentation, Mr. Mayor.
Anybody have any questions? Go ahead, Ms. Montiel.
That's okay.
That's
Yeah, okay.
okay? Go ahead. You first.
Oh, a quick question. Before you apply for a city license, do you have to have a state license?
Yeah.
Is that procedure, or you can get the city license, then get your state license?
That's a real good question.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
Does Sam or Gene know if a state license is required in order to apply for a city license?
This is Mr. Paz, Planning and Zoning. So from my experience, we've only had a few medical businesses that required the state license before applying for a city license, but I'm not necessarily sure for all businesses. So that's all my experience really has indicated so far.
And Mr. Diaz, I will research that for you and get back to you.
Because I'm pretty sure if you're going to be in retail, you have to pay the state tax, and you have to have your state license to pay the state tax. So.
Sure. I'm assuming you do. But
Yeah, well, I have both licenses, but I don't remember which one you got first. Or you get them both at the same time.
I'll find out for you and let you know personally.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Ms. Montiel?
That was one of my questions. And the other one is, how many business licenses are issued in a year approximately? And how many are there issued presently in Nogales, John?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
I don't know those numbers, Ms. Montiel, but I will definitely get those numbers for you. An average of maybe the last 3 years, how many business licenses we issued, and then how many business licenses are currently active, both the retail and
The operation.
I can get that, unless, Sam, you have those numbers, which I rather doubt.
So I don't receive all the business license applications, but the
Right.
ones that are sent to us for safety inspection reviews, I think the average we're seeing is usually like 5 to 7 per 30 days. And so, again, I'm not saying I get all the business licenses, we only get the ones that require the safety inspections. And so those are the numbers I'm seeing from my end of it. And so revenue may have a little bit more if they're just, renewing, and it's an existing business, that kind of stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Councilman.
John, during the pandemic, a lot of things changed. So a lot of businesses in Nogales, some of them closed definitely, and some of them closed temporarily. Is their license expires once they close the business completely, or are they still active? And they can come back and open up later on in the year?
if I'm not mistaken, Councilman, the license is for a period of time. So whether they open or close, I don't think it cancels out the license. Is that correct, Mike? Do you know that?
There's two basic types of business license. One is just the generic run-of-the-mill business license, $35, that's the whole year. So if you stop your business, that your license continues to the end of the year. And if you don't choose to renew, then your license expires. Then there are other categories of businesses that are not retail businesses, and they fall under the business license occupancy tax, and they have to pay quarterly licenses. And so if they close their business for temporary period of time, then they may skip a quarter's worth of license fees. And I don't have the data as to how many people have done that, but if you're not open, you don't have to pay for the license tax. But if you reopen, then you have to renew it.
But do they still have to submit some type of report every month to the city saying that they're
No, it's not a monthly reporting, it's a quarterly. So, but I'm not sure that they ever give us notice that they are closing. They may just stop paying, in which case we put that license as a default. I think there's a process by which the business license individual in the revenue department eventually goes back and sees, is that business in operation? And if so, then they go out and notice them that they need to renew. But I'm not familiar with the day-to-day process, how that works.
Mr. Mayor?
And just a follow-up question. Are they required to maintain utilities even if they're closed temporarily? Does the city obligate the business to keep the electricity and water and all those utilities?
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead.
I don't believe that the city obligates anybody to remain with their accounts open, their utility accounts. However, if they were to close, assuming their water account and their sewer account for, let's assume, a restaurant business, I'm sure that they would have other problems like health problems and stuff that goes like. But I don't think one's necessarily tied to the other. We do, we do have a business license out where the person who holds the license pays no utilities. It might be part of a complex, right? So, it's a case-by-case basis, I guess what I'd say.
Okay.
And Mr. Mayor, I apologize for not having the answers to these types of questions. My understanding, we were going to talk about how do you obtain a
Right.
business license, not the current status of business
I
license.
understand.
So I'm going to have to find out a lot of these issues.
Yeah, but it's good to have that information, and maybe once you have it, you can put it in the cubbies. How many,
So that's why I'm trying to write down the questions so I can
yeah,
make sure I get them to you.
how many licenses were issued, and at least for the past 2 or 3 years? How many have been issued? And how many have been, closed or something, or
Absolutely.
opened up, just to get information about,
And I'm not sure on the occupational license, if they close within the quarter that they paid, if they're giving back a portion of their money, or is it they pay it and that's it, whether they stay open or not. I'll find out those answers and get back.
Well, we were having the stressful time during the COVID situation. Some of the licenses, were they waived for a while or nothing like that happened?
I don't think mayor and council approved any waiver of
We
license.
never did anything like that, no?
You did water connection fees only, I
water.
believe, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
And
Because you would have an idea of who closed up, like Councilman Bojorquez has mentioned, who closed up, and do they have intentions of opening up,
sure,
or something like that.
I can ask anecdotally to Mr. Suarez and to see if he had any conversations with any businesses that could have possibly suspended their license or put their license on hold during the COVID, and report that information back to mayor and council.
Because I remember back on On 19, I requested from the department license, how many they have issued, and they had issued like 200 and some licenses that year. But it doesn't look like, because it could be just one or two people working something, or a truck, a vendor truck or something. So it varies. It doesn't mean that it's big businesses where they're hiring a lot of people, but there's several, there can be over 200 licenses easily issued in 1 year.
A perfect.
And just like that, there could be 200 licenses also.
A perfect example of
Cancel.
that is the shuttle license, Mayor.
Yeah.
You know, it
Yeah.
the numbers might overstate what you might think as a brick and mortar business.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, we go to discussion items. Our discussion and direction, economic development and assistance plan for small businesses in the downtown business district. I placed this on the agenda. And I've had this conversation with Mr. Kissinger, and I think I have had it briefly with Mr. Massey also. And basically, members of City Council, what it means is that it's not that we're taking any action on this right now, but I think we should have a study session in the near future of how we can assist the businesses that will reopen, or new businesses for those, like you mentioned, that completely closed and left. So basically is that we have to work it in a way that we can, kind of like an incentive program, how we can help them, but I'm not saying like we're going to direct ourselves and funding the business, but there's a lot of things that have to go with the business, like the license itself, like the connection fees, like water, like if they have plans that they're going to be reviewed, permits, building permits, all those things. We can discuss those things and see how we can help as a city so that if somebody's interested, especially in the downtown area, I'm not talking about Mariposa Road. There's no need on that Mariposa. But in the downtown area, for the Morley area, the Arroyo Boulevard area, and Terrace area, if there's businesses there that they need to be reactivated, I think we as a city, as a council, we should sit down and study this so that we can find a way how we can reinvent the Morley Avenue. It's not going to be easy, I'm going to tell you that right now, because you have to work, you have to remember, there are property owners there. You don't know if they want to do that. The property owner they might want to rent the whole building for a certain type of business, but there's businesses downtown that would be perfect for downtown to attract people, pedestrian people, and that would be in the restaurant business, cafes, businesses like that. But are these property owners willing to rent for that? And so it's going to be something that we as a council, we need to discuss this so that we can figure it out and say, okay, how are we going to approach this? And first of all, we have to approach it with the property owners. Do they have an intent to one day open up their building? A lot of those buildings are huge. They don't look big, but they're huge inside. Somebody might need a little piece of it, not the whole thing. Are they willing to do that? Are they willing to, mix up different businesses within the building itself? I don't know. But if we don't start by having a study session on this, we'll never know exactly how it's going to work. I've talked to some people that are interested in going downtown, but their biggest concern is, and I'll be honest with you, the rents. Rents are very high. They can't rent the whole building for what they want. And so they've asked me, they said, is there anything the city can do? I said, honestly, there's really very little we can do unless we discuss this with the property owners and see if they're interested in doing something. we have to bring the downtown area back to life. As you can see, there's very few that are stores that are open, but they're still working with local people, not Mexican citizens coming across Morley Avenue. So they're still hurting in that aspect. They're not selling what they should be selling. So if you attract other type of business into that area of downtown, that will attract the people that live in Nogales, Arizona, to go downtown and walk, maybe that whole thing can start moving around and developing in that fashion. That's the only way I've been thinking about it, and I've talked to John about this, and like I said briefly with Mr. Massey, and there are ways that we can do it. But let's have a study session on this, John. This is my whole thing. Yes, go ahead.
Is there any way that is there a merchants association still in the downtown area? And maybe we could get the merchants association and the property owners to sit at the table.
That's the whole purpose.
Try to negotiate something.
I walked the stores not recently, and I gave them all a letter from my office. And I gave them a letter of that the intention of the city is to help them out. But I had letters for every store, and there was only 7 of them open. Okay, so we're trying to contact the owners of the businesses. See, some of the stores don't have any merchandise anymore, Mr. Jorge. No. So you don't want to talk to the merchant, you want to talk to the property owner. No. For the longest time, the stores had all the merchandise inside. Go by there right now. It's empty. So that means that they left. So if there is such a thing as an association like they used to have it, the Korean Association, then they have, I don't know if they're active like they used to be, but a lot of the stores that were part of that association, I know for a fact they're not there, because I went looking for those people and they're not there no more. So maybe that's something that as staff can do and try and see if they can locate some of those people that can be. And of course, it'd be great to have people like that be part of a study session.
Right.
Because that's the way we're going to be able to do it.
Negotiate with the property owners. It's better pay a little bit of rent than nothing,
Yes.
They're just sitting there and they're paying property tax.
Yeah. Eventually, you know that a building that stays empty for a year in the flood zone, a lot of problems could happen. You don't want to leave the property empty for a year. Not with the FEMA maps. Yes, go ahead.
I think that courts, they know the owner, most of the owners, and they do have the phone numbers.
Would you please? Yeah.
Let me do it. Yeah, because they are in contact with them.
Yes.
They're very much in contact with them. So.
Yeah, because I talked to Greg Corey when I was walked over there in the terrace. Yeah, they need to see that life again, and we need to spring that life back into the downtown area.
One of the owners of the only store, it used to be La Familia, but I think they moved right in front of the Chiquita.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one right now for the Korean Association.
The Korean Association.
Yeah, but I'll find out. Let's get
Yeah.
together with them.
So that we can set up, John, a future study session on this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Because that's the only way we're going to do it. Yes, Mr. Bonilla?
Mayor, I do recall having a conversation with you on the consequences of having those buildings closed for over a year. What happens? Do they have to upgrade those buildings because they were closed over a year because of the flood zone?
Well, different things could happen, and not by the city, but by the county. Yeah, we can, but that's the good thing about it, that we can work together with the county, and partner up to help the downtown. They feel the same way as we do probably for the downtown area. And the key thing there is basically the opening of the port. That's the key thing. Because once you open up the port, then they'll say, okay, you know what, it's time to put a business there. But what I'm saying is, don't concentrate on opening it up because you're going to have a port that's going to allow people coming to God. Do it for residents of Nogales. Many, many years ago, Saulo, I know you remember. When you went there on Saturdays and Sundays, everybody you saw walking in the streets were people from here. Okay? So we need to have that attraction. But then again, there was no Mariposa Road back then. There was nothing over here. So everybody concentrated their life there. So that's what we need to do. That's the only way we're going to help and bring life to that downtown area. But it can be done. But we have to be a team on this.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, John.
So, if you don't mind, I would like to suggest that, that I reach out to some of the contacts we have up in the Phoenix, the Valley area. They have done a lot of economic development incentives to redevelop blight areas.
Yes.
Same with Tucson. There's some pitfalls, some things that we need to make sure that we stay away from. We don't want to get in trouble for gift of public funds.
Yes, I understand.
So there's ways of doing economic incentives for opening new businesses or repurposing buildings for new businesses, as long as we're showing a benefit to the community as a whole. I believe there's ways of doing that, and I think it would be helpful for mayor and council in their study session to have somebody come down and give mayor and council a presentation on what you can do and some ideas on how you can do it and so forth. So I've already been talking with people on that, and I think we can find some help to help us develop that type of a plan, Mr. Mayor.
Great, John. Let's do that, and we'll plan for the study session in the near future, maybe by next month or so.
Yes, sir.
So we can bring it up and then find out, of course, finances, that where we're at. I mean, I don't even look at me like that, John. He always looks at me like this. What?
What?
But
I know.
let's make a package of this, John, and so that we can all sit down and come up with a solution. We have to start now because, I know that they've been extending the closure of the port every month. Let's talk now, so the minute it's open, at least we have, something there, a plan, so that we can do so in case somebody does want to work with some of the property owners downtown.
Sure.
To open up something that we're there for that. Okay? All right, thank you very much, John.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, number 2, discussion, direction, and possible action, roof repairs, Boys and Girls Club. Councilman Bonilla.
Well, council members, in case you're not aware, the county is currently trying to,
Before we go any further, I think this one's going to be a vote type thing. I'm going to ask for a motion so that we can, a motion on this? So move. Second? You have a second? Okay, discussion. Go ahead.
as maybe some of the council members are not aware, the county is currently trying to fix the Boys and Girls building, which belongs to the city. They got a grant, trying to make long story short. So they're doing some electrical and lighting and drop ceiling, roof strengthening, and their ACs and plumbing and stuff like that. And they're short for this project $81,000. I asked that the city help pay part of this outstanding balance. I don't know. I know that it wasn't included in the budget, so I asked that we at least help them out with 50% of
The cost.
of the cost. I think it's we should also invest in this for our youth. Yes, I understand that the building belongs to us, but I really want to invest in our youth. So if council would be generous and help fund the outstanding balance at least 50%.
Okay, Mr. Kissinger,
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor.
where do you stand on this? Have you talked to the county about this?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. I was approached by the county manager right in the middle, a couple of days before we passed our final budget. And she also asked the same request of me, would the city be in a position to assist in the budget shortfall? I said, yeah, I think it would be very easy for the council to get a favorable vote if we split the shortfall in half. She reluctantly, but did agree to it. The county went out and allocated their CDBG rotation money to the Boys and Girls Club. Like you're going to see in a couple of agenda items down the agenda here, they came up short. I mean, construction costs have really changed in the last few months. So yeah, they came up short. If the mayor and council are inclined to assist in finishing out this project, and you're right, it's a city building. I think it's a wise move and a wise expenditure on the city's part. I'm just requesting that the motion identify the amount of money that we're willing to put into this project, which I just heard the councilman talking about 50%, which would be roughly about $40,000, and that the funding source be this year's contingency,
Okay.
because it's not in our budget, Mr. Mayor.
So it would have to be amend the budget for this, or can we
If-
just pull it out of contingency?
I believe if I get the favorable votes tonight, that's good enough to spend the money out of the contingency, because the contingency money
Do
can
you know
only
of a
be spent
time-
with mayor and council's
I didn't
approval.
read the whole thing. Do you know a timeline on this project? Because you said it was CDBG money.
Right. When I talked to Jennifer, I said that I was gonna bring it up in this meeting in the form of an order, but in last meeting, or shortly after last meeting, Councilman Bonilla's beat me to it, so Jennifer's okay if we.
You know what's been happening? He's been hanging out with the county a lot.
It appears to
He's
be,
got a very good friend up there in the supervisor's office.
it appears that's what the case.
That's what's happening, I understand.
So
Yes, go ahead.
I would ask that the motion, Mr. Mayor, that the motion be amended to include an amount and the
Okay.
funding source being this
50%.
fiscal year's contingency.
40,000?
That would work, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say that it's a very, very good idea, and I really approve the 40,000 to go to the Boys and Girls.
There was a proposal on this for everything, actual proposal,
240,000.
240,000. And do you know where it's at with CDBG? At what level?
The
is
grant was 240,000.
grant?
Right.
So basically, they're using their whole CDBG funding they get this year.
Exactly.
Okay.
And they're also, I guess, partnering up with the contractor to cut some of the costs down also.
Yeah, they valued engineered it to bring it down, Mr. Mayor,
Okay.
but the shortfall still remains at 80,000.
So it's not just the roof, like you said.
No, it's
Oh, no.
it's the drop ceiling, the new lighting, some electrical work, insulation, with their AC systems.
Because I was concerned at
plumbing.
$80,000 for a roof.
No.
You know, that's a lot of money for a roof. But if you're gonna be doing all that, you know, lighting and plumbing and AC and stuff, yeah, that'll accumulate to those monies.
On your handout, there's a list of all
Okay.
the
right.
costs.
If-
Were you gonna say something?
Yes.
Go ahead.
If the building belongs to the city of Nogales, so
Yes.
do we have a contract with Boys and Girls Club, and what does the contract say as far as the maintenance part? Are we as landlords,
Yes,
the ones responsible for the maintenance?
Mayor, when this project was in the planning stages, we brought an amendment to the Boys and Girls Club long-term lease to council, and that language was adjusted so that they were the recipient of this CDBG grant, and they were therefore our tenant kind of doing the improvements. And so with that, we did adjust some of the long-term costs that the city would assume maintenance-wise for the AC and those other improvements. Also, we brought an agreement with the county and the Boys and Girls Club to council for approval, so that there is this three-way, object that's walking down the street, getting this project done, so that everyone is cooperating with each other. So we have like a three-way MOU. And I believe the city official that was designated to be the city's contact to make sure everything was being done and doing inspections on the behalf of the city. So, they're doing the improvements, they're contracting, and they're putting them in, but long-term, the city is taking on the responsibility for maintenance. So we wrote into that MOU that the city would inspect and approve the work. And so if there is a punch list, for example, that needs to be done, the city would have an input into making sure some items are being done to the city's satisfaction. So I think all of that is in place contract-wise.
So it benefits the city if we go ahead and do the work.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah. Anybody else? No? All right, then. You want to make the motion of how it's going to be read, or John, do you take care of it? Read it?
Making the motion, sir?
Yeah, you said you wanted to say you want to make sure the money's there on the motion. So
All I
we
need,
can vote.
yes, sir, the amount of money and the funding source for it. Mr. Mayor, if the motion could be
Not to exceed 40,000?
not to exceed 40,000 out of the 21-22 contingency budget.
Okay. Is that good?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much. The ayes have it. Okay. Number 3, discussion, direction, possible action, economic development. I placed that on the agenda also. Basically, I said a lot of the stuff on item number 1, but I wrote some things here that I know is something that we as a city and the people of Nogales should know. Basically, what not only developers but business people that want to relocate somewhere, and what they look for. Okay, someone that wants to invest in a city, there are several factors one looks for. That's good infrastructure and roads, a clean and healthy city, good schools, medical facilities, secure and safe city, and friendly community. Do you agree we have all of those? Do you agree we have all of that?
Probably.
Do you agree, Mr.? Do we have all that? Do you agree? I agree we do have them, all right? Our schools are great. It is a clean, healthy city. We might have people say it's not, but it is. Medical facilities, and our police department and fire department keep us very safe and secure. Under this administration, we have invested an incredible amount to provide our residents and future residents with a better quality of life. And that's a fact. We have invested a lot. Might be people that say no, but we have. We have invested in more modern and necessary equipment when it comes to fire and police protection. We have invested a lot for those departments. We have made great investments in our baseball and soccer fields, tennis courts, and other playing areas, as well as our mini parks. And in the near future, we will also have a park for dogs and Techea Park, completely new and enhanced, all right? We have modernized our city website, and much more information is provided now, so anyone could easily access and get more information about our city. We have invested close to $7 million, and by the end of this fiscal year, $10 million to assure good infrastructure and roads and other services. And those numbers are there. We have invested that. It might look like we haven't paid the streets in Nogales, but we have invested that in a lot of the streets. And hopefully we can do a lot more. Even though we had a bad year this past year with COVID, we have been doing very well. We all work hard to provide good customer service, and I'm talking about all members of the council and staff and everybody at City Hall. We are working to provide incentives to new and existing businesses. That's what we talked about right now by having a study session. And John and I have talked about that a lot. But again, the brakes were on us this past year, but now we have to get back, even though it's not completely open, we have to get back. We are going to be placing our new welcome signs throughout the city soon. We're ordering utility light banners with the message, "You are among friends," that will be placed on the poles. The artwork is done. We all approve the signs. Hopefully we'll get them soon, John. Yes? No me veas así, John. Yes, I know. Nogales is also known as a baseball community, so we continue to invest in our parks. Little League regionals will continue to be hosting here in Nogales, hopefully for a long time. That's a big investment we did at the parks when they first decided to bring them to Nogales. And look, it's been several years and they continue to come to Nogales, and I think this is a great place for them to come and play. Community events are planned throughout the year in partnership with different organizations which attract people from all over to come visit our city. You're one of them, and Mr. Bonilla, you're another person that are going to be dedicating your time on that a lot. Like John said, we're working closely with potential investors and are interested in bringing new businesses into our city. Hopefully soon we have good news with that. And we have to remember all of this, that annexation, believe it or not, will help the economy. Believe it or not, it will have, with annexation, you will have a bigger footprint of the city of Nogales. It'll show that this government and the city is willing to extend so that we can find not only for residential, for businesses, but also to show that we have intentions of growing. We have intentions of having a vision of what we need to do. Every city does that, but Nogales hasn't done it for years. Many, many years. It's time we do it. This is going to have to be a team effort for annexation. We have to be we have to work closely with this. We have to get those signatures, and we have to be able to say, and when somebody sees our webpage and says, you know what, the city of Nogales is not 20 square miles, it's 60 square miles. And there's room for developers to come and develop, there's room for businesses, there's room for everything. That's what we need to do. Annexation is very, very near to when you start talking about economic development. It's part of it. So, let's think about that. I know that the action item, I know it's an action item, but I don't think there's a need for us to vote on anything right now until we have the opportunity to have the study sessions and to come up with the incentive programs and discuss annexation, discuss the downtown area, discuss how we're going to not only develop the downtown area, but also plan for the future, to extending Nogales. All right? So let's be a team on this. Let's work together on this, and we'll be successful. We can do it as a council. Let's show anybody from outside that Nogales has a good and a sound government willing to do business, and it's open for business. The city of Nogales is open for business. All right?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
can I make a comment?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that was a great report, and we all know here what's going on at City Hall and all the projects that we've completed and we've done. But I think in the near future, I would recommend that you hold like a city, state of the city.
Yes.
So the rest of the community is aware of what's going on at city, what projects are completed, what's on our agenda, what's for the future agendas. And I know that the newspaper's here, but not everybody reads the newspaper. We've been here almost 3 years, and we haven't had a chance to have a state of the city.
Well, the state of the city that I was going to do was March of last year. Okay? Because first of all, you don't never do a state of the city the year you come in, because you're actually working on the previous administration's budget, and you haven't done anything with administration. So on March, when I was gonna do it, the 26th of March, they closed up the whole place, the whole country.
Yeah.
So from that moment to now, my intentions of doing the State of the City Address, Councilman, is hopefully right after we come back from the Leagues of Cities and Towns Conference.
That's good.
All right? So I promise you that I'll do that. I know you mentioned that a couple of times.
Right.
But we'll do that. And yes, we do have a lot of information we can put out there. And that we see. Because, a lot of people don't see, because they concentrate on one certain thing. I've talked to people and they concentrate on street paving, but they don't, everything else no importa.
Right.
All right, and then some concentrate on the downtown area. Why don't we revitalize it? Well, we want to revitalize it, but no se presta. So okay, so if we can have the meeting with the study session, like I requested to John for us on economic development for the downtown area and an opportunity for opening those businesses back and giving it life. That's part of a presentation for State of the City Address. State of the City Address has two things. It has what you've done the previous year and what you want to do the following year. And that's why it's always done right before budget time in March. Because you spent money and you're about to get the other money. You want to have a budget coming in and a budget going out. But we haven't had the opportunity. But Councilman, I'll do it. Bueno, ya van 3 veces que me lo pides. All right. Yes, Councilman.
Quick question. On all this economic development and all that, and annexation, could we kind of include foreign trade zones and empowerment zones in the study session?
Yes, we can. Mr. Massey, can that be done?
Mayor, we can talk about it, but I think those things are generally driven by state and federal law, but we'll have to do the research on what actions we can do to drive those things.
Yeah.
But a very interesting idea, Mr. Diaz. We'll have to
Did you find
look
that
up
in
into it.
Did you just find that out right there on did you just find that out on your laptop?
No,
You always throw those curves at me. Me sacaste de curva.
It's Googling.
I had a vision.
Oh, there you go. But no, yeah, everything, it's open. It's open season when it comes to economic development. It's open season to open up the city. De veras. Let's think about that, okay? All right, is there anything else? Can we move? All right. Okay, thank you very much. Let's see. Discussion, possible action, compensation plan. I put that one on there too. I'm not going to take that anywhere because, I know where we're at, financially. I know what we did with the compensation plan with the employees. I think this is the month, Carmen, that they received their first paycheck. See? And I did want to discuss that because I didn't want to take it any further in the future because we only did this much to the employees when we have to do this much. But I'm anxious to see, I know we have a decent comparison report there, but I'm anxious to see what happens from here to October, John. So I'll just move from this one, John, and then later on we'll bring it and maybe also have a study session on this, John.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. So I can tell you what our plans and our conversations have been. We're very grateful that Mayor and Council were able to fund the compensation study, bringing all of our employees up to the minimum of the salary ranges. So now the question is, obviously, now what, right?
Yes.
So what we would like to do is come back and look at good plans throughout other communities in the state, because there are, on how to move people between minimum and midpoint, and how how you do that. One is longevity, one is performance. It could be a combination of longevity and performance and other measurement. We'd like to bring back a plan sometime, hopefully at the end of September,
Okay.
with the blessing of the new boss, hopefully, to bring to mayor and council to put a compensation plan in place for the city of Nogales, so we have a set plan on how to bring people from minimum up to midpoint, Mr. Mayor.
But,
So that would be our goals to do.
you know, one of the things that we need to also discuss in the compensation plan, I know it's something that not is favorable a lot, but you know, I remember in the past, we used to have merit increases. You know, a merit increase is very good because employees try their best so that they can get that merit increase. And that shows, you know, that shows that the interest is there, and that shows that they really love their job and they want to work hard to improve.
Sure.
That's the way it used to be when I was a cop. They used to have the merit increase, but you know, and if somebody does get a raise, at least you have a reason why that person got a raise, is because he has been improving and he has a good evaluation record from his supervisors. And I think those are good. I like a merit increase. I don't know, but that's something we should discuss too, John, you know, under the compensation itself,
That's correct.
you know, that we could work on.
That's correct, Mr. Mayor. That would be our intentions and goals to bring.
Thank you very much, Jack. Go ahead, Councilman.
On this subject, I've been going through the pay schedules, and for some reason, some of them don't make any sense. So if we could have a study session or something so they can explain to us how those raises came about. I saw one employee, as a matter of fact, in the legal department, that went from $38,992, and her pay was decreased to $38,804. So it went down instead of,
Wow. Yeah.
and it was on the pay schedules.
But you know what? Maybe those things we should discuss later because,
We'll follow.
yeah, it's not, I don't think we should be discussing, yeah, you know, that. Make it proper. Let's make it a
Yeah, that's
proper
what I
thing.
mean.
But it
Have a
does,
study session
Yeah.
and have them explain to us how they work
Okay.
on the percentages.
perfect. They're both frowning. Mira,
Nobody got a baby.
No. Okay,
I didn't think that happened either, so I don't know.
all right.
I have to look at that.
But we'll discuss it later because I don't want any names to come out. All right, so let's move to the next one.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I just want to have the opportunity to tell Mr. Bojorquez that your pay schedules are positions, not necessarily people. So if you want to meet with me after the meeting or whatever, we can go over that and we can talk about that and make sure that
Okay.
there wasn't an
It's a
oversight.
position.
Yeah.
I didn't say the name of the employee. It's a
Correct.
position.
The pay schedule are for positions, not for people. Thank you, Mr.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you very much, John. Thank you very much, Council. Okay, let's go to number 5. Discuss, wait a minute. Okay, yeah, this is Councilman Diaz. Yeah, discussion, direction, and possible action naming a park after Officer Britton. Councilman Diaz?
Okay, well, to start with, I wish I wasn't here talking about this, but it is what it is. And Jeremy was, he was working, he was doing what he always did, help people. He always was there to help anybody that was in need. He was there to serve and protect. And I think it's fitting that we name a park after him. Hopefully, we'll never have to do this again, but he was 18-year veteran of the police department, 2 years to go. His whole life ahead of him. He already had his project when he retired. He had his wife, his 4 kids. So what I was thinking is naming the Western Avenue Park, naming it Jeremy Britton Park, in honor of his service to the citizens of the city of Nogales, to the community, and to the Nogales Police Department. And like they say, you die twice. You die when you die, and you die when people don't remember you.
So I think it would be fitting that we change it from Western Avenue to Jeremy Britton Park, because we already have
Is that
Western
what,
Avenue.
is that what that park is named, Western Avenue, or is it Camp Little?
Camp Little, I think.
Is it Camp, what is it called, John? Do you remember? Camp Little or Western Avenue Park?
I'm pretty sure it was Camp Little also, Mr. Mayor. I'd have to go back and.
Because everybody says Western Avenue, so
Yeah.
I was just thinking of that.
No, but let's look into it. I don't see why not. You know, I strongly believe, yes. That was the reason, one of the reasons I also requested naming this park, but this was just called City Hall Park.
Right,
After Chewy, because, you know, you have to have some
sure.
remembering. But I don't see why not. Let's look into that and then see what can be done.
Okay.
Okay.
So, Mr. Mayor, what I can do is I can look back at some of our orders to see if council named that park and what we did name it, and then some of the other parks, and I can work with Mr. Diaz and then bring back an order for your consideration on renaming a park.
Okay, because the soccer field up there, we named it Hohokam Soccer Field because Hohokam, you know, the street and also the settlement.
Well, I'm glad I learned that again tonight because Councilman Bonilla's on the 4th of July asked me what the name of the soccer field up there, and I said, I was here for the inauguration, but I can't remember what we named it.
Yeah, it's Hohokam. They
Hohokam.
wanted to name it Soccer in the Sky. The soccer.
That's what
people.
I wanted to tell them, but
Yeah,
I knew it was
that,
wrong.
no, that's what the soccer people wanted,
Right.
and we decided to name it Hohokam.
But I'm pretty sure that we named it Camp Little.
Okay.
And then I think the one out in Meadow Hills is just called Meadow Hills. I don't think we
Yeah.
gave it a name.
As long as we get,
But
get
I'll work
something
with
we
you
can-
and bring back whatever
Okay,
you want.
sounds good.
Yes, I mean, we can change it.
Oh, yeah, you can change it. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, the only thing is that I wouldn't change if it's got a name of a person, you know, for 50, 60 years or something, you know, like Karen Park or somebody else that was, you know, I wouldn't go there. But, you know, parks that just have like this one, City Park, City Hall Park, I mean, no problema, you know. And then I asked John one day, can we name a street after an officer? And he said, yes, you can, but the people on the street, are they willing to change all the correspondence to that name of the street and everything? And that brings another problem too. So because that's what I was thinking about naming the street, the Chuy, the one in Valle Verde. You know, the Valle Verde, Mesa Valle Verde, wanted to change it, but John said, I don't think it's a wise move. So the best idea was here because this is a good place to everybody come and see and be part. But Councilman Diaz, let's look into that and
Okay.
yes, let's do something for Britain.
Could we, since the accident happened with Officer Britton, could we petition the state to name that new overpass with the name of Officer Jeremy Britton?
You can do anything.
I would like to.
I don't even know what name.
I like what Councilman Diaz said. You know, when you die twice, you know, once when you die and once when
Yeah.
they don't remember you. And I think that
Yeah, we can definitely do that. We can even look into that and see if they have a name. Do you know if they have a name for it, John, already?
I don't, Mr. Mayor,
flyover?
but I will reach out tomorrow to the state and find out if we can name a bridge or
Yeah,
something state right away or something.
because if that's the case, that'd be perfect.
It would,
Yeah,
it would be.
that'd be
I
perfect.
don't know if that's possible at all, but
I know.
I'll definitely ask.
I know the state has pero pues nunca sabes. All right.
Also, just food
No, go
for
ahead.
food for thought. We have the skate park too. That doesn't have a name.
The skate park doesn't have a name too.
A park.
The one in Memorial Park?
Uh-huh.
No tiene nombre. Yeah.
We could thank Jean for that. She just texted me. Got the skate park. She texted me. So. Just throwing it out there, Joe. So we can work together too.
Okay, yeah, let's work on it.
I know last time you mentioned the dog park, pero no quisiera nombrar un dog park del Britain. Something better.
Yeah,
What's the other one?
Absolutely.
Meadow Hills Park. That one.
The Meadow Hills Park es otro también, nomás dice Meadow Hills Park. ¿Verdad?
It's just Meadow Hills Park. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we got options.
Okay,
All right.
yeah, let's work on it and come up with a good,
All right.
nice option.
There you go. Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you.
Okay, number 6, discussion possible action to develop an economic development plan that provides a comprehensive overview of the economy and policy direction for recovery and growth for 2021, 2022. Councilman Montiel.
Okay, Mayor,
Yes,
I brought that issue up. Actually, I placed it so that we can start talking about economic development, which you have. And one of the things that Councilmember Bojorquez brought up was a good issue. I mean, there are a lot of things that are going on. I know that economic development encompasses a lot of things like infrastructure.
Yes.
And I know people focus on what we're not doing, what's not being done. So it's good for the public to know what is going on. What are the things that you've been doing and the council's been doing for the last few years? And there's nothing like people knowing what is happening. And I know the International does a good job in making sure that the public's informed of the things that are going on here at City Hall. But I think it's important too, like you're right, we just are overcoming a global pandemic. And so it's good for us to put something in a rigorous plan together. And one good way to start is by having a study session on economic development and how we can recover from this pandemic and what we are doing to help our citizens recover from this pandemic.
Yes.
And so I celebrate the fact that we can start talking about it and dialoguing about it and informing the public of the things that are being done at here at City Hall. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Do you know the good thing about that one, Councilmember Montiel, is that would probably be attached with complete review that we're going to be getting from Maria for the annexation and the general plan.
There you go. Okay.
There, because she's going to be attaching those two together. So I don't know when they plan to bring that to us, John? Soon,
I'll
hopefully?
find out. Sam, do you know when that's going to happen?
Can you repeat the last question? I couldn't hear the question.
Do you know when they're going to be bringing the general plan for approval?
Annexation packet with.
Oh, the annexation.
Yeah.
Oh, the annexation. I don't know when they're bringing it, Mr. Mayor.
Does
She's
Sam
over
know? He doesn't
No,
know?
I'm working on it.
Because Maria was going to work, because annexation is attached to the general plan.
Correct,
When the people voted both times, they voted for annexation.
correct.
Exactly.
So that should be part of it. Yeah.
And
Go
you're
ahead.
absolutely, may I?
Yes,
You're
go ahead.
absolutely right. One of the things that I brought up the last time to Mr. Kissinger is to bring in the general plan into place so that it could be well connected to an economic plan and the general plan, which includes annexation.
Yes.
And regarding annexation is people need to be informed of the pros and the cons. And I think it behooves us to start immediately informing the public about that.
And that's why it's important that we receive the documents from
Exactly.
Maria. When she comes and does the presentation, she'll be bringing the maps, the new map, and then the pros and cons and what can we do and you know, how much would the city spend for police protection, how much it would spend for fire protection and public works and everything, and how much we would be receiving on enterprise funds. Everything's going to be attached to it. And then I think she said there was going to be something there for economic development too, so.
Great, thank you.
All right, John, do you have anything else?
Mr. Mayor, as I was preparing for possibly to speak to this item, I took the liberty to reach out to some economic development people, again, up in the valley that I have on speed dial and I can speak to. And one of the things, as I talked about Nogales and developing this plan, which if we contract a company to do for us, it's not cheap. There's a good price tag that goes along with economic development plans for communities. But one of the things that I was cautioned about was saying, John, be careful because An economic development plan for 20 square miles might look a lot different than an economic development plan for the entire annexation area that we're currently going through. So it might behoove the city to answer the first question first, right? Are we going to annex? And then develop an economic plan for the entire city. So I just want to bring that out. That was some of the conversations I was having with some of the economic development professionals up in the valley.
Well, basically, that's what Maria also mentioned to me, is that it's easier for them to do an analysis of the whole annexation area, so that we can say, okay, this is what's going to cost us.
Right.
And this is how much we would receive for enterprise funds. And once you get that and those numbers together, that's how you can develop, okay, economically, how you're going to proceed with this.
Correct.
And another thing is that when you have a footprint like this, like for instance, the Quinto Springs area, just as an example, it's perfect for a developer to say, you know what, that's a great development area. And the city being part of that means that we can bring utilities to that area, something that county cannot do. The cities have the utilities companies. We do that. And we're in the business of doing that. So those developers like to see that. Say, okay, you know what? We're going to be dealing with this for the infrastructure, for the water lines, the sewer lines, the streets and stuff. Even though developers, the majority of them, invest their money to put those into the ground for us to later accept. And that's basically what you have to do on that. And then, an attorney friend of mine from Glendale told me, don't believe everything they say that you need to annex retail businesses. It doesn't work that way. He says you annex areas where there's going to be rooftops. Because when there's rooftops, new developments, people come to live in that area within your city limits. And where are they going to shop? In Nogales. All right? So it doesn't mean that you need to build a mall. You need to get the people that's going to shop at the mall. So that's the way it works. But, we have to get there first. So, but it's a good idea, Ms. Montiel. We'll do that. Is there anything else?
Would we still, I understand that it'd be prudent to wait for Maria and give us the documents, but what we discussed earlier, what can we do meanwhile on working just on the Morley area? I think that's in dire straits, and I think that, it's
Yes.
all, that is, to me, 911, that whole area. It is dead. I mean, and we need to work on it now.
No, that's why I said we have to have the study session for that.
Yeah, and just dedicate ourselves on that one issue. And I know that at the same time we'll be working with the annexation and stuff like that. But I think the Morley project is for now. It's for now.
Yes.
And
Yeah, you can't abandon that.
Yeah.
That's a must. Yes, sir. That's the first study session we'll be having, to get together on that. Perfect. Okay, we'll move to
7, Mr. Mayor.
number 7. We didn't have to vote on, no, there's nothing there to vote, just discussion. On number 7, discussion, direction, possible action, Fiestas Patrias, 11/20. Oh, you threw me off with it, 11. Oh, September 11. 11/2021. Council Vice Mayor and Councilman Bonilla, you, both of you wanted to discuss this?
First of all, we're working on these, but we want to know what class are we gonna have for this event in order to keep doing what we need to do. We know we want it on September the 11th, and we're thinking about doing it at the park. And then Mr. Bonilla is thinking about sponsors and making a huge event. But we need to know what class is this particular event is gonna be.
Okay, I'll give you an idea. 4th of July is Class A. If I'm not mistaken, right, John?
Yes, sir.
Class A means that basically the city will provide the park, the electricity, the porta potties, police, security, and some funding, when it comes to the entertainment part of it. But I know the majority of the time, have gotten a lot of the entertainment through the consulado. But what I was talking to Councilman Bonilla about this is that he's thinking of having sponsors.
Yes.
Okay, so if you get sponsors to bring in the entertainment and the stage and the lighting and everything, well, that alleviates a certain amount of money. Like, for instance, the stage at 4th of July, you're looking at about $15,000. Is that what it is, Salvo? Yeah, $15,000. That's a category A, all right? But if you're going to get sponsors to do it, then we can eliminate those $15,000. But if you want the city to be part of it to a certain extent, the best thing to do, I also recommend you do a category A, okay? You're never going to take the Fiestas Patrias higher than what you've had it in all these years if it doesn't turn into a category A. Because a category A gives you the opportunity to do a lot more with city funding. And you don't have to worry about a lot of things. The city will take care of. B and C, you get a porta potty, you get this, and it doesn't work. I also recommend it goes category A, but the best thing to do is, if we can vote on it right now to be category A, but the best thing to do is both of you get together, and then you find out exactly if there's going to be sponsors for music and stage and certain areas, the entertainment field itself.
And what I was talking to Councilwoman Lopez is that it'd be wise to just bump it up to a category A. I believe 90% were Latino descent. I personally have been doing the Fiestas Patrias in big cities, whether that be in Tucson or Phoenix, working with their consulados. And it's a team effort. It's sponsors, Consulado Mexico, and the city. And I think that we can do that here for this event. I think that we have to go large with this event, bringing in bandas sinaloenses, norteños, grupo norteños, and some ballets folclóricos and stuff like that. Just, bring it up for the people of Nogales.
I support you on that. Because I've been watching Vice Mayor all these years, and we've gone from events that she has invited me to the Chia Park, to Pearson School, to Ron Turley, to Morley Avenue, and you always get that handful of people. Y los conozco a todos. And why? Because doesn't look like a city event.
Yeah.
If it's a city event like the 4th of July, look at 4th of July. You don't even advertise it and you get 10,000 people. ¿Verdad? So why not? Let's get these events going. I understand you're going to be having some meetings soon for events. Let's get these events going. That's also a means of bringing spirit back to a community. Okay? If we're going to show that we're going to open up, even though we didn't do it for the 4th of July, because it was kind of late, but I think we can do it for September. So I support you on this one, both of you. But the only thing is, can we vote on something like this without having a dollar amount, Mr. Massey?
If you want to just vote on the category and direct staff to come back with a budget, then for future adoption, I think that would be it.
Yes, because I need to chase some of the sponsors, and I'll explain a little bit to Councilman Lopez how it works. And I'm going to need at least a couple of weeks to just make sure of Because we are
Is
kind
the
of.
schedule for it?
Yes, yes, because technically, we are kind of late. We're behind already, but it's still manageable. But I need to just go out and make sure what I can get before
Okay, so
attaching
we
a dollar
vote on it
sign.
right now so we can clear the air with category A. Can you come up with something and sit down with John and discuss, to what extent the finances would be for, I'm talking about entertainment. I guess that's the only thing it would be. Everything else is, like I said, the porta potties, the field, the
And
electric,
we
the
would
police.
have also the vendors.
Yeah, the vendors. You would do the same thing as a
Yeah.
Fourth of July.
Same thing.
Fourth of July, except you trying to bring in sponsors that pay for the entertainment. But you made the words you said right now perfect. It's a team effort between the consulado, the city, and the sponsors that want to be part of it.
So,
Is
Mr.
that,
Mayor-
would that be okay, John?
Mr. Mayor, so the motion and that I would look forward tonight would be classifying the Fiestas Patrias as a Class A event. That gives us the opportunity to write checks out of the city's special event fund, which is $42,000 budgeted for this year. So this would be the first event of this year. Remember our 4th of July event that's coming up, will be into next year's budget. I'm assuming so.
Yeah.
Don't forget Veterans Day.
Yeah, we got. Yeah, so all I'm saying is that there's some other events that need to be budgeted for, but our budget authority for this year is 42,000, and I have no issues working with the councilman to bring forward a budget.
Okay,
for
let's do
approval,
that.
Mayor and Council.
So we'll use that number, but don't spend it, no. No. I know, but don't spend it. Remember, we have Christmas too, okay? The Christmas parade is funded by that.
Yeah, for all of that.
Veterans Day, just a small portion is funded from that too. And,
Memorial Day of next year.
Memorial Day,
Budget.
this also will be in this budget también.
There's the whole 40 right there.
There's
Yeah.
40.
42.
It's gone.
42.
Take it all.
Ahí se acabó el dinero. No, well, let's keep it to that, all right? So do you have a motion to change the category? Did we
To
motion?
Class A
on that?
event, sir.
Motion?
Yeah.
We did?
Well,
No, we didn't. Oh, there. Okay, I'm asking, is there, you have it too? All right.
We have a
Okay.
motion and a second, Mayor.
All right, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Aye, the ayes have it. Thank you very much.
I said hi.
Okay, number 8, discussion, direction, and possible action, COVID-19 protocols or policies for city council and Nogales housing meetings. I placed this on the agenda because I want to get a feel from the members of the council of what do you think if we bring back all of us sitting on the dais, people sitting in the audience, social distancing, not 70 people, maybe half of that, not bringing all the chairs in. Are you willing to do that, or do we remain like this? I was told by somebody in staff that we should remain like this until the border opens.
I second it.
You second?
Yes.
Is it still yellow across the line? It is yellow? It is yellow? But
Brick houses.
it was green. It was yellow. So, okay, it was brought to my attention that that's when we should open the city hall completely. And not the council chambers, I mean the council meeting. Okay, then. How do you feel, Councilman?
I feel that we should go ahead and open up for the next meeting in August, because if we keep waiting on the border to open, it could be next year, and
No digas eso.
it would show the people in the community that we're willing to open up to the public, and that way maybe CBP can also say, well, if the city's opening up, maybe we should open up too. So we need more community participation in the meetings. We've been here like for a year and a half, and I think Santa Cruz County is, I think it's still the highest percentage vaccination, and I think we're ready to handle the open meetings.
Councilman Diaz?
I agree with Councilman Bojorquez, and my wife goes across the line almost every day, and I live with her, so come on, So, but anyways, it's not that bad across the line.
No?
It really isn't, because they're still practicing the social distancing in most businesses, and a lot of them they want you to wear a mask. So they got the protocols going over there, and I see, when I go across the line, everybody's out on the streets. It's business as usual, like if nothing happened. So,
Okay.
And all of us here, like Councilman Bojorquez says, we're practically all vaccinated in the county. So, and you know that responsible people are going to come to City Hall. Not just anybody comes to City Hall. So I think people that are interested in their community, to see what's going on, to learn about their government, what we're doing for them, what they could do for us, it'd be very good for them to come in and see how everything is running.
Good.
And when they got questions, they can come call to the public and talk to us and make suggestions, and that'd be another good way to get the economic development engine going. A little quick start there, and start thinking on what we can do to further and move forward the city of Nogales as a whole.
Good. Councilmember?
I couldn't say it better. I agree with Mr. Bojorquez and Mr. Diaz. I think it's time.
Yeah.
It's time.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can't say it better. I agree. I think it's time for us to let the public in. Of course, we're responsible. We know how we're going to work that out. I'm sure John will do a good job of making sure that we social distance in this room. And I think it's a great message we send to the public, that we're being transparent and we're opening up. I mean, we did already the city building, so why not the meetings now? So,
Good.
thank
You
you.
know what? I agree also.
Yeah, I think that's a sign of normality.
I agree that we should open up. We should sit on the dais, but we should control the seating, not 70, not, maybe 35 people or 30 people on the chairs, social distance, at least until, maybe September or something like that. But I think our next meeting should be trying to get back as normal as possible. I know you go across the line a lot, ¿verdad? You still go. And Saulo, I don't know if he goes across the line. Do you go across the line, Saulo? You do? Yeah, because I haven't been over there in a year or more or longer. But I think, let's do that. John, just by a show of hands.
And besides, the school district is going to be opening up for the students too, and
Yeah.
and I know that Walmart and all the other stores are letting people, at their own option if they want to wear a mask.
Yeah, they've been taking the signs off in the stores. Yeah.
So they're ready.
You go to Safeway right now, and all the employees don't have a mask.
So
Home Depot does, though. Yeah, but Safeway, I guess it depends on the company.
So if they're ready for business, we're ready for business.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, John, for the
Agree.
next meeting?
So, to be clear, for next meeting, we'll have the members of the council and staff sit up at the dais.
Yes,
And I'll set up this room with 32 and a half chairs.
yes, yeah. We'll space it out and try to get it as normal as possible
Yes, sir.
so that we can get back to normalcy. Good. That's a good idea. Let's do that. All right.
But for the John, for the housing authority, you have to cut it down more.
Cut what down? The chairs?
Participation, yeah.
Nobody comes to the housing authority meetings.
I even missed
3 people show up.
Mr. Mayor, we'll set up for the 32 and a half chairs for both the city council
And the hot.
Yes, yes, it'll be, there's gonna be 32 chairs in here, period. Doesn't matter who shows up.
Correct.
Yeah, we'll do that. And we'll sit up here in the dais again, okay? All right. Okay, number 8, liquor licenses. Number 1, consideration possible action of liquor license 2021-3, approval of recommendation of the issuance of a liquor license for Mr. Juan Jose Mesa Herrera for Barracuda Kitchen and Bar, 165 West Mariposa Road, Nogales, Arizona. Number 012 Restaurant Admin. The motion?
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay, number 9, orders. Consideration possible action of order 2021-07-032, an order of the Council of the City of Nogales, Arizona, adopting an amendment to the City Personnel Manual, Chapter 27, Appeals to Grievance Board. Legal? Second?
Second for discussion?
Yes.
Thank you,
Matthew?
Mr. Mayor. This is a pretty simple concept as far as an amendment. We have 2 boards right now. We call one the Appeals Commission, and the other one is the Grievance Board. And as the HR manual currently sets it up, is the Grievance Board is made up of 3 of the 7 members of the Appeals Commission, and these 3 members are drawn randomly. My experience in the last couple of years, Mayor, that we've been doing this, last 3 or 4 years, we don't have that many grievances. It's not something that is happening all the time. And just the randomness of who's going to be on the board to hear the grievances creates uncertainty. And I don't see the wisdom or the benefit of having that random element thrown into that process. So this is just my suggestion, Mayor, for the council to consider tonight. But it's the Appeals Commission doesn't do a lot of business. We don't actually fire that many employees that often. And if there is a reason, sometimes that ends up being a voluntary resignation. So the Appeals Commission only meets once or a couple times a year. So if we said that the Appeals Commission basically is also the grievance board, that wouldn't dramatically increase their workload. And I think it would use the Appeals Commission to the best effect, which is have all of them sit and listen. And just because someone's grieving a bad evaluation or someone's grieving a letter of reprimand or a suspension, that's important to that person. And it's also important to the department director that the department director gets a feel for what the expectations are of the Appeals Commission, what's going to be upheld and what isn't going to be upheld. And I think that would better be fulfilled. All those objectives would be better fulfilled if we use the full Appeals Commission, even for these what might be considered smaller appeals, which we call them grievances, but treat them a little bit more serious and getting consistent feedback from the Appeals Commission on what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong. And so that's just my recommendation, Mayor.
Okay. Any discussion?
Mr. Massey, by cutting down on the participants, is that consistent with the personnel policy, or
I'm sorry?
is that consistent with the personnel policy if we cut down on the participation of?
Well, actually, I'm asking for expanding the participation. So you're expanding the
board.
who's on the grievance board, and you're taking it from just a subset of the Appeals Commission to the whole Appeals Commission. And it is a change in the policy. That's why I'm bringing it forward to council. Only council has the authority to make that change. And I've expressed why I think it might be a good thing to do that, to develop a sense of consistency, and then for the members of the Appeals Commission, for all of the members of the Appeals Commission to be involved in these types of, smaller appeals, they get more involved as well. And we get just a better feedback loop going.
Mr. Mayor, I agree with Mr. Massey's recommendation.
Me too. Anybody else? None? Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes. Number 2, consideration possible action of order 2021-07-033, an order of the council of the city of Nogales, Arizona, authorizing the city manager to enter into a license agreement with Southern Eastern Arizona Community Action Program, Inc., for use of certain property located at 125 East Madison Street, Nogales, Arizona.
So move.
Discussion. Mr. Kissinger.
Mr. Mayor, the CHAC group had approached the city. They are being asked to move out of their current facility, which is the old county attorney's office up on top of Chenoweth, to give you reference to where it's at. I believe the county has decided to demolish that building. They have other uses for it. They approached us for available space. We had the old neighborhood center where literacy volunteers used to, and the promotoras were at, who haven't been using that space for many years. We've checked with the remnants of that, those two groups. They're fine with it. They have no further use for it. I entered into a licensing agreement proposal with CHAC. We have a representative here tonight to answer any questions if you have it. Staff is recommending that you approve the licensing agreement, Mr. Mayor.
Perfect. One thing on that area, it's a big building.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
It's huge.
So we have scheduled,
Yes, go ahead.
so I've had conversation with CHAC. They understand that we're going to work with them to occupy the building with other nonprofits also, because there's more space in there that they need. But the license agreement will be with them. And we have a meeting coming up very shortly here with some other nonprofits to see how we can partner to get more people into the space and use the space as much as we possibly can, which that's what they do. So that they're very encouraging and want to get that done. So
Great.
we have that to include the Head Start. So
Yes.
the principal over at the Head Start will also be in the meeting that we're having here pretty soon to see how we can
Yeah,
partner and get that done.
Yeah, they reached out to me, and also the autism group.
Right, and
You know,
she's,
they don't need a building itself, but they need a meeting place.
and that's a perfect
Yeah.
place for
And
community meeting
also
places.
the Love Connection, also the Down syndrome.
Yes, sir.
Those special needs, those are the people that you can help out, John.
Absolutely.
They
That's,
need a place.
Mr. Mayor, that was our intention from the
Good.
very get-go.
Okay, that's the only thing I have. Anybody else? No? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Number 3, consideration possible action of order 2021-07-034, an order of the council of the city of Nogales, Arizona, authorizing the city manager to award a contract to accelerate construction and excavation for the Noon Street water line replacement and paving project for an amount not to exceed, is that 1 million?
Yeah.
That's a large number.
Yes, sir.
Okay, 1,015,496. Those numbers scare me, John,
No
but
more
I know.
Fiat- no
That's a
more-
great project, though.
No more fiestas, Mr. Mayor? No.
Well, Category A is out the door.
Second.
Okay, all right, discussion.
John, it says there you selected the lowest bidder. Was there, how many bidders were there? 'Cause I didn't see it in the packet.
Excuse me.
Juan, on the Colonias project, do you know the total number of people who submitted bids?
There were 3.
Thank you, Juan. 3.
All right, thank you.
Any more discussion? Hearing none?
I got
Hey,
quick question.
wait on you.
Here on says where
Okay, it says 1,015,496, but then when you go to whereas, lowest responsible bidder is Accelerated Construction and Excavation Incorporated with a bid in the amount of $1,180,341. So how come it's saying 1,015,000, and then here at the bottom it says 1,180,000?
Go ahead, John.
Okay, so the original bid did come in at that previously stated amount, 1,180,341. Okay?
Okay.
But our grant that we got for the colonias was only for 844,839. And when you take off the Seago's technical assistance on that, the percentage they get on that, it left us with only $786,839 to actually pay for the project, right? So so that would have left, if my math was correct, it was close to a $250,000 shortfall, 200 and some $1,000, right? So Juan went back out of the original bid and worked with a contractor to identify some potential savings in the contract.
Okay.
So that we reduced the amount by 164,000, right? So that left the modified bid amount with the contractor at $1,015,496. The grant money available for construction is $786,839, which left a shortfall of $228,657. Staff is requesting that we fund the shortfall through the overweight contingency and the water contingency reserve
For the 228.
for the 228.
Okay.
So we can get this project.
Okay, but the whole project's gonna be 1,015,000.
That is correct. That's what we anticipated being.
So we got a discount. On the
We-
overall on the whole project.
We reduced. We reduced some of the scope of work
Right.
to achieve
To get that price.
value engineering, sir.
Okay, very good. Okay,
That's what we did.
okay, thank you. Yeah, because I was looking at, what
Right.
the 1,015,000, then I look at the bond and I see 1,180,000.
Councilman Diaz, we're hoping that the ground is soft enough.
Right.
That's the key, all right?
Right.
That is not hard ground
Right.
to dig. Because if it's very hard ground to dig, the price could change.
Right, right,
Because that whole area is cantera up there.
right.
And they experienced it when they did the infrastructure, correct me if I'm wrong, John, when they did McNabb. So they're hoping that some of the area at McNabb is almost the same going down
As
Noon
Crawford.
or Sonoita. So if that happens, then we won't spend that much, but if not, cosas pasan.
Right.
That's exactly what we're hoping for, and if we're wrong, then we'll be back with one of Juan's famous change orders,
Yes.
Change orders.
which we're
Yeah, 'cause-
hoping we don't have to do.
Okay.
You need to get, you know how that movie, you need to get a bigger boat
Yeah,
for Jaws, remember?
yeah.
You need to get a bigger tractor. Bien grandote.
But what
Yeah, hard digging.
But what happened, Mr. Mayor, is not like the county. What happened is the construction costs have really skyrocketed. That
Yeah.
when we went through this process, those numbers, these were good numbers,
Yeah.
but today's numbers are,
They went up.
they went up.
Yeah.
My understanding at most construction projects right now are running 20% more than they were same last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's.
So
Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Kissinger. Number 4, consideration possible action of order 2021-07-035, an order of the Council of the City of Nogales, Arizona, approving the appointment of a Parks and Recreation Director. Mr. Kissinger,
Second for discussion?
discussion. Mr. Kissinger.
Mr. Mayor, as the recent change in our charter indicates any appointment of a department director is subject to the consent of approval of City Council. As we're all aware, Mr. Bachiller has recently retired from his post as Parks and Recreation Director. We opened up the position, went through a recruiting process. We vetted the applicants, and we're bringing forward you the name of Ms. Renee Travers for the Parks and Recreation Director.
Thank you very much. Is there any discussion?
Mayor.
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Kissinger, I went through the resumes, and I'm really glad that they were all people from the community that applied for that position. I don't know if anybody from outside the community, but I'm glad that somebody from the community got awarded the position. I do have a question though on the salary. Is there a policy that we have to start a director with a higher salary than the previous director? Is that a policy or a requirement?
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead.
So, Mayor and Council just approved the compensation study. The new minimum salary for the Parks and Recreation Director is the one that's being offered in this order.
Okay.
So they would be starting at the minimum salary for that position.
Okay. All right.
Because the reason I ask, because that's like 35% higher than the previous director.
And I told Marcel to stay.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Uh,
I told Marcel, don't leave. Don't leave yet. The things are coming. No quiso. But
That's all my question. Huh?
is there anybody else? Okay, hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Number 5, consideration and possible action of order 2021-07-036, an order of the council of the city of Nogales, Arizona, appointing members to the Appeals Commission.
Second.
Discussion, Mr. Massey, you brought that to my office.
Yes, Mayor, by early August, and we got the HR director here who can make sure that I'm reporting the situation accurately, but by early August, 4 of the members of our appeals commission, their term will expire. So we're asking that the council appoint
certain members. Maria Jesus Arevalo is the current chairman, and she's been on the commission for many years, and she's done really good work. And we've reached out to her, and she's willing to be reappointed.
Yes.
And then so that's why staff has kind of put that name in there. And staff is hoping that is acceptable to council. And then the other 3 names, Mayor, this is where we need to work on this order. The order is empty right now. And so I don't know if you want to take each line and have a vote line by line, or if there's a consensus on who should be filled in for those other 3 names, and you can vote it all at once. But it might be easier to go one person at a time, Mayor.
You think so?
It's up to you.
Yeah.
However you want to do it.
I think we should go with all 3.
Okay.
3 at the same time. And those 3 people have been reached and through my office for the appointment, and basically that's the way it's always been done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have we have the names for the record?
Yes.
Okay, thank
Yes.
you, Mayor.
One of them will be Mr. Hanesian, Nubar Hanesian. The next one will be David Ruiz, retired Border Patrol. The other one will be Carlos Ibarra, a retired Chief of the Navy. Good people that could work and have been, are knowledgeable when it comes to appeals, when it comes to grievances all their lives, and that's why I selected those people. And I'm asking you to support me in appointing these 3 good people from the community that are willing to help us out on the appeals board. All right. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Number, was that okay, Mr. Massey?
Yes, I'm just saying that Mr. Maldonado voiced also aye.
Aye, too.
Okay, so for the record.
Que no lo oigo, ¿sí lo dice? Okay. Number 6, consideration and possible action of order 2021-07-037, an order of the Council of the City of Nogales, Arizona, approving the extension of the agreements with the Communication Workers of America, CWA, Nogales Police Officers Association, MPOA, and International Association of Firefighters, Local 2763.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. John, I'm going to step out for a bit. Vice Mayor, could you take over, please?
No fair.
John, go ahead.
No fair. Ms. Vice Mayor, currently we're in negotiations with all three of the unions. We haven't finalized the negotiations with them. We would like to ask Mayor and Council to provide us with an extension so they could have their union contract exactly the same as they were last month or last year, extended for another month while we complete our negotiations till the next regular council meeting, when we'll be bringing you the union contracts for consideration and approval.
So we need a vote for the extension?
I'm asking you to vote for a one month extension, or better stated, to the next regular council meeting. Because sometimes, every once in a while, we change the meeting date, and it's not exactly a month, so that's why I wrote it to say the next regular council meeting. So that's what staff's asking your permission to do, ma'am.
All those in favor of, go ahead.
So this doesn't expire after this council meeting, it's until the next council meeting?
The current contracts were through June 30th. Typically, we know that we don't have the meeting on the 1st, so typically, just as a matter of practice, we cover the contracts all the way through to the very first meeting of July. However, in this case, we don't have the contracts fully negotiated. We would like the opportunity to take the time from now until the next regular council meeting to fully negotiate those contracts and bring back all three contracts for mayor and council's consideration of approval in the next regular meeting.
So all those in favor of extending the agreement with the Communication Workers of America to our next August meeting?
It's all three. It's the Communications of America, the fire department, and the police. Yes.
And the International Association of Firefighters?
Yes, ma'am.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 So we're okay.
Ms. Vice Mayor, I believe it was a unanimous vote, I think.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so in ordinance, number 1, consideration and possible action of ordinance 02-021-07-005. Second reading of an ordinance of the Council of the City of Nogales, Arizona, amending ordinance number 20X, City of Nogales zoning ordinance, in rezoning approximately 1.92 acres of undeveloped land from SFR to LI. That's planning and zoning.
So moved.
Any questions?
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Oh, okay, thank you. And Madam Vice Mayor, we have a call to the public of an individual who requested to be recognized to speak on this item.
Okay. So do we bring the person to the forum? Go ahead.
And I'll be abstaining, right?
Oh, that's correct.
Yes,
Thank you for making that record, Mr. Diaz.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Neil Bruno. I reside at 361 East Patagonia Highway here in Nogales, Arizona. This is nerve-wracking. I don't know how you all do it, standing up in front of people and talking. It's like, I was told if you look at everyone and imagine they don't have anything on, you'll be calm, but I'm still nervous. So anyway, good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Neil Bruno. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to address you once again on the matter of rezoning our small parcel number 10309-022A, which is located on the Patagonia Highway just across the street from the Circle K. As I mentioned to you at the City Council meeting on June 29th, 2021, I represent a small LLC named Polga. Just as a brief reminder, we submitted a request for a zoning change through the City of Nogales Planning and Zoning Department on or around the 23rd of February 2021. After review by the Planning and Zoning Director, Mr. Samuel Paz, the application was determined to be consistent and within the parameters of rezoning of the same parcel in this area. Mr. Paz then began the mandatory notification process of neighboring properties. All property owners within the designated distance of the applying property for rezoning were notified and invited to comment or participate at the regular Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. The meeting was scheduled for April 8th, 2021, where the rezoning item was scheduled on the Commission's agenda. Mr. Paz confirmed to all the Commission that all the statutory requirements had been met to include neighborhood mailing, legal advertisement, and public hearing by the Planning and Zoning Commission. On April 8th, 2021, the Planning and Zoning Commission voted unanimously 4-0 to approve this rezoning request. At this meeting, there was no opposition to that rezoning request. On June 9th, 2021, you, Mr. Mayor, and the Council heard this matter and likewise voted unanimously in favor of this ordinance to grant the zoning change request. As previously mentioned, the Planning and Zoning Director, along with the entire Planning and Zoning Commission, determined the rezoning of this parcel had not only to be legal, but fell well within the parameters and requirements of a parcel's rezoning in our community. According to Article 1, Section 100, zoning has three aims. Number one, to assure orderly community growth and thereby to safeguard the public welfare. Number two, to regulate the use of private property, thereby protecting the community against harmful invasion of buildings and structures. Number three, to conserve property values. In Article 1, Section 100, Paragraph H, Subparagraph 6, it's also stated, all rezoning requests will be examined in the field to determine not only their compatibility with adjacent land uses, but also their feasibility from a topographical standpoint. In subparagraph 8, it is stated, no zoning changes will be approved without the due consideration of all relating factors. Rezoning for the sake of rezoning to promote an objective unrelated to the function and compatibility of an area will generally not be given much consideration. Therefore, the following is true. Rezoning this parcel has been determined to be lawful. Rezoning this parcel has been determined to be compatible with adjacent land uses. Rezoning this parcel will promote economic growth. Rezoning this parcel has been determined to benefit the public welfare. Rezoning this parcel has been determined to increase surrounding property values. The rezoning of this parcel has been determined to be consistent with legal easements and their access. At the City Council meeting on June 9th, 2021, Mr. Jim Price, a resident who resides nearby the parcel in question but outside of the mandatory notification area, made some comments regarding the rezoning process and the people involved, including my wife and myself. Mr. Price had alleged that he was lied to by both my wife and myself, publicly calling us liars. I had prepared a list of comments to rebut some of the things that Mr. Price said, but in lieu of reading those, I really believe that I'd like you to know this. I have always dealt with Mr. Price honestly and truthfully. For some reason, Mr. Price has made this a personal issue, which it is not. This is a business deal which in the long run brings growth and prosperity to the Nogales economy. I have seen tonight the passion this city council has towards the betterment of our city. I have in the past, over 30 years now, and will continue in the future, to deal with Mr. Price with dignity, honor, and truth. The legal process we use in our city, and generally in our society, is there to protect us as citizens. The law is there to guide our officials as to what is best for our community and what is not. The law cannot stop persons from causing harm to others, but it does provide a remedy for those who have been wronged or injured. We have followed the legal path for seeking a rezoning ordinance on this property. Rezoning this parcel has been determined to be lawful. I believe Mr. Massey put it in this context. The planning director is being directed in this ordinance to take into account the easement rights. Also, he, that is the planning and zoning director, wouldn't approve a development of the property that would infringe upon the easement. The greatest accommodations of protection have been granted to Mr. Price in this ordinance with specific stipulations for the planning director to follow that he may honor the easement and future development on Price Hill Road. Mr. Price will always have the ability to seek a legal remedy if he feels his rights have been infringed upon in connection with this easement. Mr. Mayor and council members, again, I say to you, based on the facts and statements that I have presented to you this evening, I encourage you to vote unanimously for the passing of this rezoning ordinance. I'd like to thank you for your time in this matter. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor,
Just like to make a report that there was some discussion at the last meeting of Mr. Price turning in the legal description of the easement and the easement documentation, and he did do that. He turned that into the clerk, and the clerk forwarded it to Mr. Paz. So Mr. Paz does have that paperwork for any future development of the property. So, and just to clarify that this stipulation in the ordinance means that any development, whether it's by this owner or a future owner, the development has to be respectful of the easement. So it's not a restriction that only applies to one person. It applies to whoever the owner is at the time a development application is made.
Thank you, Mr. Massey. Is there any discussion? Was there any discussion after? No? Okay, hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
Abstain.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. I'm glad you, did you say anything?
Huh?
I know you wouldn't say this. I know, Councilman. Okay. Opposed? Nobody? Okay, good. Unanimous. Passes. Okay, number 2, consideration I would have done both of them at the same time, Mr. Massey.
Yeah.
Mayor, we'd be done.
I know. Consideration possible action or ordinance O-2021-07-006. Second reading of the ordinance of the Council of the City of Nogales, Arizona, amending ordinance number 20X, City of Nogales zoning ordinance and rezoning approximately 0.54 acres of undeveloped land from SFR to MFR.
Second.
Second. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. 11, Mayor and Council's report. Okay, I'll start with, what was that?
George, don't forget George.
George. Is he there? George, let's start with you.
I'm here, brother.
Okay,
Nothing else.
you have anything for a council report?
He says no.
No? Okay. Go ahead, Councilman.
I don't have anything to
Okay, go ahead, Councilman.
I'll just be working hard for the future events.
Perfect. All right. Vice Mayor.
Now, we're also working for the Fiestas de Mayo event, and we're having a meeting next week. So we're coordinating everything. I've been calling some of the vendors to make sure if they were willing to participate. They're just waiting for us to give them a call, or when are they coming to sign the petition?
And I also understand you're going to be preparing some giveaways for the League of Cities and Towns.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Councilman Diaz, do you have anything, sir?
Well, it was a great 4th of July.
Yes,
Thank you
it
for the
was.
fireworks. It was really great. I mean, I want to thank the city of Nogales and BFW and Charlie Slack for,
I haven't had a 4th of July like that in many years.
right? So it was great.
It was the best.
I'm working on a little deal here for economic development for the city, but this is not going to happen till 2023. We're having a BFW National Convention in Phoenix. And so our national commander in chief, he lives in Benson. Our state commander lives in Phoenix. So we had our state convention last month. So at one of the hospitality rooms, I got to talking with the state commander, and he said it could be done. We have 20,000 people that are coming to the state convention from all over the United States. So what I suggested is to the state commander that will be incoming in 2023, that he gets about 4 or 5 buses and bring all these old veterans to have the border experience, so they could look at the walls, so they could just come into Nogales and spend the day. So they're going to try and fit it into the convention agenda in 2023 to see if they could do that and bring a few vets down here and they could see what the border is like, because a lot of these
Perfecto.
guys are, they've never been down to the
Yeah.
border, so.
You know,
I'm working on that.
if they're old veterans, they can get their prescriptions across the line.
That's true, that's true.
Push that.
Yeah, so, I'm gonna work on that I got a couple more years to go, but I already started,
Thank you.
okay?
Council member?
Nothing at this.
No? Okay. All right. I didn't do anything también. Son mentiras. Te estaba esperando por cerrar la puerta. ¿No? Okay, June the 3rd, upcoming mural project meeting, which is pretty good. That's with the Heritage Program. June 16th, roundtable discussion with Governor Ducey, local elected officials, and business owners. Same date, Telemundo interview regarding meeting with Governor Ducey. Same date, Univision interview regarding meeting with Governor Ducey. Same date, interview with an independent journalist regarding the effects of the pandemic on the border for it says Feet in Two Worlds. That's what it's called. And at the same date, interview with Rio Rico High School student regarding division within our nation. June 17th, Radio Henny interview regarding meeting with Governor Ducey. June 18th, Zoom meeting with auxiliary students regarding possibility of helping Mexico get COVID vaccines. Same date, attended Youth on the Border event at Pearson School. June 23rd, a new Max interview regarding the border. Same date, We Love Nogales interview regarding the economy, the border, and other topics. Same date, meeting with Aztec Writers regarding event they're planning for November. Same date, interview PBS regarding border closure extension. Same date, meeting regarding a grant for the U.S. Department of Transportation. June 28th, NAD Bank meeting. June 29th, meeting with Santa Cruz County School Superintendent. That is it. Future agenda items. John, I have the ones that I mentioned for the study session and that. And then I also, John, por favor, give me the information and when we're going to start the trolley library, the book reading for the community, for the kids, see where the library director is at with this program. Okay? Perfecto. I had some other ones, but I forgot them. But that's all right. I have a whole month to remember.
I'm sure you will.
Yes. Council member, do you have anything? No. Okay. Councilmember Diaz,
No.
Vice Mayor? Councilmember Bonilla?
I got a small one, maybe.
Ay, Jesus Christ, ¿qué es?
Removing the overtime cap for the police, officers.
Okay. You want to put that on the agenda? Okay. For discussion. Okay. Did you hear that, John?
I do, Mr. Mayor. Was that only, because that's, that overtime cap is citywide? Is he proposing only for the police department, or should I just put it, the whole overtime cap? I thought that's what you.
Councilmember Borges? Nothing? Okay. Means adjourned.